Hi everybody, my name is Nicole Granucci and I'm your lab instructor for Physics 101 lab. So in this video what I'm going to do is basically go over my syllabus and then I'm going to walk you through Blackboard just to show you how the course is laid out on Blackboard and talk a little bit about the course and get familiar with how it's going to run, etc. like that. So this is the course, so I'll run you through the course syllabus first. A little bit about me. I've taught this course now for several semesters. I've been teaching physics for a long time. I think it's almost 14 years now. So, and this is what I love to do. This is where I want to be, and I'm looking forward to a good semester. Of course, it deeply saddens me that this course is in fact online. There's nothing like doing it in person, but for the safety of everybody, this is going to be this is ultimately what needs to be done. But more importantly, I spent a lot of time this summer working on this course. So that it translates into an online course that's interactive, engaging, and not just sitting in front of a computer screen, right? You're going to be timing, you're going to be measuring distances, you're going to be involved. And like I said, I spent a lot of time making this happen. So a little bit about some of my contact information. So email, of course, is the best time to best way to contact me. I'll mention my office, but obviously, in terms of going to my office, please don't this semester, but you're welcome after this pandemic. But if you need to drop something off or you have some papers for me, you could definitely drop it off in my office. You can slip it under my door. So I'm in the Modulars by CAS on 121. My office hours, I might be changing this 2 p.m. Timing, so just FYI on that. But otherwise, I mean, by the time this course starts, you'll see this updated if it is changed at this point. And by appointment. So the office hours, if you know you're coming, just let me know. I just like to know, in case if I know you're coming, I won't eat a sandwich, right? I'll make sure that I'm ready for you. So just send me an email if you know you're coming. But just know that you don't need to do that. That if a question pops up and you didn't expect it, and you're stuck on something, just go ahead and just send a Zoom. Get into the Zoom meeting. There'll be a waiting room, so if I see you're waiting there, give me a couple seconds too, because maybe I am eating that sandwich. I'll put the sandwich down, and then of course I will address your questions and stuff like that. So in other words, the virtual office hours are open door. You can come in for any reason particular, like that. So this course you're taking synonymously with lecture, so you might even have me for lecture. So you got 2 videos. Intros, so I don't know if that's good or bad. But anyway, so you might see that, you have some overlap. So ideally the lecture and the lab will kind of match, not always, and it's just the nature of the situation. So especially if I know that you're not like at this point in time in the lecture, I'll definitely go over things with you. So just know that. So yes, this is synchronous. So we're not doing the labs asynchronously. We're going to do them in real time. So our time for this class is from basically 10 to 12. And you're expected to do the labs during this time. You'll have lab partners, just like you normally do. We're going to simulate lab as best as we can online. You're going to go ahead and do this later. So really, the only thing you really need is a calculator, and I put with trig functions, but actually you don't even need that. I mean, most of you, I think, have one of these kind of calculators. Bring it. It's totally sufficient, but you will do calculations. And these are recommended, but not necessary. I just like using a mouse for everything. I'm using one right now. Pardon me. So it's good for when we do a video analysis of labs, because then you can, easily track, unless you're very comfortable with the pad. I mean, that's fine too. And then a document scanner. It's just nice sometimes to be able to write out all of your work. And I find that document scanners are way easier to use than the, taking a picture. They save as PDFs. They upload nicely. I might encourage you to do this for class, especially if you're in my class. I think I'm going to have you submit your work, and that's, one way you're going to do that. So just a little bit about, the model for class. This is kind of how the class will go. So before you come to class, you're going to do a pre-lab. Not really. I mean, I have it as an intro video, but really it's pre-lab. Now, I'll show you where the pre-lab is and how to access this online, but let's just go with it. So you're going to do your pre-lab. The pre-lab is meant for you to read the lab. They're not hard questions. They're really not. They're literally, the answers are in the pre-lab. The question might be like, what does TOF stand for? You read the lab. It stands for time of flight. Click the answer, and there you go. The pre-labs will be graded right before the start of class, so you won't know your answers until class has begun. And because I'm really good at grading things really quickly and looking at them, they'll be graded already because they're through Blackboard. But I'll just make sure that everyone got the idea of the lab and talk about any misconceptions before that. So at the start of class, I'll of course say, hi, welcome to class. I'll give any major feedback or comments on things, and then talk about the lab, some things that you should note, and all that fun stuff. And then what I'm going to do is create a breakout room where you're going to be with one other person, and you're going to do the lab with lab partners. I assign just random lab partners, literally just click the buttons to make groups, and that's how your lab group was determined. And you are going to work on the lab together. I think it's just so much easier if you could talk through a lab and ask questions and be able to do that and then sit in your lab, kind of by yourself. So there's some collaborative work with that. So, after 15 minutes or so, I'll come peek in and just say, hey, how's it going? Do you have any questions? Having trouble? To make sure that you're on task. And then toward the end of class, what I'm going to have you do is submit your data on a Padlet. So the idea is not really to look at it in terms of, I'm not going to grade you in terms of correctiveness, but just kind of like a checkpoint. Typically in lab, I will check your lab data before you leave because I don't want you to leave and maybe you forgot to add a factor of 5 in all your data points and they're all off. Or, I had people that measured the height of the table, not the height of the, the I don't know, whatever you're measuring, the pole instead. You make these simple mistakes, and if I can catch them in advance, it just obviously helps you not only with understanding, but it helps you catch those mistakes and check your data and make sure that it's right. So really, this is a way to do that. But I'm also going to use it as a point to kind of look at your data together as a group, and we're all going to kind of talk about it. We're going to go through, I saw, so-and-so's has a steeper slope than everybody else, what can account for that? So I'm going to ask questions to help you with your analysis questions. So we're kind of going to work collaboratively, there we go, with that. And then, of course, at the end of the week, you're going to complete your lab report, which I'll talk about. So yes, I know that things can happen. You can, especially now, and you might need to go home for a family member, or you might become sick, or whatever the case. I know that right now things are just all over the place, and just know that I'm here to help you and know that I recognize that as reality. The most important thing, though, is just keep me in the loop of things. What can't happen is, for example, I had a situation where a student was out for 2 weeks, didn't tell me, and then came back, didn't tell me why they were out for 2 weeks, but then said, oh, I was sick during those 2 weeks. Well, that's really hard for me to, get you back up to date, and they wanted to make up the labs, but the labs were already done. It just makes things really challenging. So, I know you can't always contact me because of the situation, but please just contact me when you can, as soon as you can, then just keep me in the loop. Of course, you're required to come to all these lab classes, and your attendance is expected. I'm not grading attendance, but your attendance is expected. These are not meant to be done on your own. They're meant to be done with your lab partner. And if you can't make it, just let me know so that I can put your lab partner in a different group and see if it becomes complicated, right? So just, again, open communication is all I'm asking for. So you're only allowed to ask for one extension per semester unless there's an extreme circumstance, in which case, we could talk on a case-by-case basis. But, and I know sometimes life happens, right? I know it's a 10 a.m. class, but maybe you sleep till 12 that day. Clearly you've missed that class. So, again, you have one allowed extension per semester, and then we'll talk about that as we need to. So a little bit about my communication policy. So basically, you'll get this intro video. You'll see that coming out. Announcements. So I may not do an announcement every week, but most weeks I will, in that I will just talk about general things. Oh, everyone did really well with this lab. I was really excited to see this. Or, okay, everyone struggled with this question. This is why. So that's kind of what it will be. And that will be a sentence announcement with an email. I generally email, or at least I generally respond to people within 24 hours of an email. And it's unusual if I don't. So even if I get your email, I might say, okay, I got your email, but I need more time on this. I'll definitely send you an email within 24 hours. Sometimes I know on Mondays specifically, I'm like literally teaching from like 8 to like 1. So, I won't get back to you for that. That's why I asked for 24 hours. If I miss your email, if you see that it's been 24 hours and I didn't answer you back, that's atypical of me. And even on my best days, even when I try so very hard, I still miss an email. And it's not because I'm personally like missing your email. I'm doing it on purpose. It's just like literally I've noticed that like even though I'm going through and making sure I might have, or sometimes when you do that whole like you think you answered somebody but you didn't, you do that mental answer. So just don't be offended by that. But please just resend the email, because then especially if I see it twice, I'll definitely hear back. It's like, oh no, I got to answer that person. So just be mindful of that. Saturdays are my offline days, which means I am not answering emails on Saturday. It's my day off. Okay. You're welcome to email me, but I just won't check it until probably Sunday evening or Monday morning, because I like to have my weekends with my family. It doesn't shut off. So for obvious reasons, try to, if there's something urgent, obviously, try to get, or if you need something, try to get it within the work week, and then I can definitely get back to you sooner than during the weekends. Pre-labs are due at the start of your class. Those are graded pretty much instantly, so you'll get your grade after the start of class. You can't start a pre-lab after class because that's not fair. Labs, I will grade labs. You have your lab grade for the following lab you have your lab graded for the following week. So I do not like to keep labs longer than that, and it's just too much work for me. So I usually, after I get your lab, I grade them, send them back within a week. Very rarely do I have like a buildup of labs, and if I do, that's bad. But you should get feedback within a week. And then your lab hosts, I want you to do, it depends. I put it 15 minutes before the end of class. If we all finish the lab in an hour, then awesome, cool. We'll post it then. So just know that too. Like, most of your labs will take about an hour and a half, to be honest. Maybe an hour. The 2 hours is pretty rare, but it can happen. So don't get your hopes up. So just assume you're doing lab the whole time, and that'll just be easier that way. So like I did, so your pre-labs are 90%, and your labs are, they're not 90%, but they're 10%, and the labs are 90%. So as you can see, the bulk of your grade is going to be your lab. So your lab grade is, by the way, your pre-lab grade is basically multiple choice for all your questions, or, between 4 to 10 questions on a lab, and they're just point values. So, and then all your labs are at 100 points and graded with this criteria right here. So I'm going to assume that you're all law-abiding citizens and you do everything with the greatest intentions, but let's just all be on the same page here. I know you're working with your partner, so your lab data will be the same, and even your analysis ideas will be the same, but please do not do the following things like copying, pasting lab data. Your graphs have to be unique and your own, even your calculations. Everything has to be your own. Like, I like to use the example of watching a movie. We could all watch the same movie, and it could be really good, and we could say, yeah, that was a good movie. But if we were all to write it down, you would actually find that we all have our own voice. So if I can't see your own voice, I even put it in there. If I'm reading this and this sounds like another lab that I read, that is in fact plagiarism. That is, even if it is just a small piece of it, I need to see a separate voice when I read it. What happens is if I see that, usually you don't know it, or maybe you're unaware of the situation. So I'll let you know and ask you to rewrite it. However, if you do it a second time, then I will go right to academic integrity, because at that point you know better and you're still doing it, and therefore it's a problem. I've gone through it a couple times for labs, but it's usually one person taking it. And that's the other thing is that, I feel bad when you have that lab partner that just takes all of your information and you do all the work. It's just not fair. So be a good lab partner. Pull your weight. Do some work. Think about things. Don't let the other person do all the work. And for those who are who like to do all the work because they like to be in control. It's kind of like me. You have to let go. You know, give some responsibility to the other person, and you have to build this trust, and it's hard to do, especially working with somebody you haven't worked with before. But don't, you know, realize that relationships can be built, and you can communicate through these things. And then, of course, online responsibility, just making sure that everything is working and updated, and just keep me aware. I know that, you know, the internet can drop out and things happen. I know sometimes you might click on a lab and then all of a sudden it doesn't allow you to submit it. So I get all of these things. So just, you know, if that happens, just let me know. And then, of course, here are all of the policies, ADA, Title IX, care, and all that fun stuff like that. This is our lab schedule. We're pretty busy. We basically have one break, Thanksgiving, and that is it. But otherwise, we're going full lab course where we have a mix of video labs and PhET labs. Now, PhET labs are pretty awesome labs. I have a million things open here. I'm so sorry. Let's do this one. This is the least populated thing. Now, the cool thing about these PhET labs are super user-friendly. They're easy. I just love them. I'm trying to think of a quick lab. I'll purposely pick something we're not going to do, but they're like really interactive simulations. You learn a lot. Like, you're going to learn so much by me just playing with this balloon. If I take two insulators, I could rub off the electrons. And notice that the protons never left. Look at learning. Oh, look what's happening here. They're so cool. So these are some of your labs where you're going to look at something and make some observations. It's very, very helpful. So the other type of lab is you're going to do is a video analysis labs where, here I am. Sorry, you see a lot of me. And I'm doing video tracking. So as you can see, this object starts to move down the track. And what I can do is I could put a little dot on this thing and move it per frame. Now it knows how many frames per second, which is pretty smart. And then we can track it like that. I'm just being, here we go. It's super, look, it's really simple. You're just going to put a, oh look, it's going backwards. That's okay. We got to track the motion. There we go. Let's do a couple more just to show you. And then what we can do is we can insert, this is all of course in your lab. Look at, we got it moving forward and moving backwards. Pretty cool, right? We're going to be able to do things like take the slope of this, the integral, and all these measurements actually correspond to physical things like velocity and displacement. So very cool labs. Now the other thing that's really cool about your labs is that you can take measurements. So what we do is we set the scale. So I know the distance from here to here, because it's lab equipment, is 2 meters. You can see I set that already. And then I can use this photo distance tool. So say I wanted to know how high this track was, I can measure that right there, 0.1897 meters. If I wanted to, I just noticed that I can measure my head. It's so ridiculous. My head's about 27 meters long. It's so silly. Anyway, the point is that you can take measurements here. So instead of like just giving you values, you can actually measure them. Pretty cool stuff, huh? No, we're not going to save any of that. Okay. So let me show you a Blackboard course. Let me go to this. Sorry, I thought I did have it open. Sorry about that. Where are you? Your elements of physics. There we go. So naturally announcements will be here. I have instructor information, so including my contact and my availability. So, you know, obviously if you are trying to, you know, schedule an appointment with me, you can look at my schedule to see when I'm busy or not. So that's why I put that there. The syllabus is pretty self-explanatory. Course materials, you're going to need Logger Pro. In fact, if you want to be like on top of things, you'll download this now because you're going to need it for Lab 0. The whole point of Lab 0 is to download it, but that's okay. You can be ahead of the game like that. Our schedule, because it's good to have schedule. By the way, the other thing is the Padlet. This is what Padlet looks like. It's pretty awesome. It's very simple. There's a giant plus sign behind my face here, and you just add it. You could add your data. It's Excel. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? And I can check it. That's all I got to do is take a look at it. Here's a graph that maybe I need to look at. And you can be like, okay, well, maybe not so good, you know, and, you know, I had my friends test this out, so that's why I had it like that. You could draw. It's all like silly stuff, but it's super easy. So this is what it's going to look like when you post your data, because we can see it all very quickly. None of that like discussion board clicking and, I can't stand that. It's so much easier this way. This is the important one. So when you go to your labs and you click on lab, you will see a bunch of things. You will see, first of all, you'll see the lab. Actually, I thought I had more of this done. That's okay. You're going to see all this populated. But what you should have is you should have two things. You should have instructions and data sheet. The lab instructions are exactly what you might anticipate. That's the procedure of the lab. So you'll see something like this. And there you go. The objectives and what to do. Hence the procedure. All this stuff. And you can see basically lab 0 is just going through the motions. There's no physics in this lab. It's just like, can you use Vernier, Padlet, all the stuff that we're going to use, including what the breakout room is going to look like. It's just literally just trying to understand all of that. The lab data sheet is different. This is what I want you to submit to me. So you're not going to write a lab report, you're going to fill out a lab report. So, and it should be matching. I tried, you know, my best. So tell me if it's not matching, but it should be matching. You know, if I needed a measurement here, you know, say this is 15, hold on, maybe editing. So you put your name here, you know, maybe this is 15 meters. I don't know why my numbers aren't working. There we go. And then you would copy paste the graph, and that will go right here. And it should match, like I said, it should match your lab. And then again, if there's any analysis questions, this is what you would submit. And when you submit this, you will go to Intro to Physics Lab Turn-In. Very straightforward. You will post it up there. And as such, so the comment section, you know, you can communicate with me here. You know, for example, like maybe you're like, I really had a hard time in this last part, you know, or hey, I had fun with this lab. It was really neat to see this, you know. So this is meant to communicate with me at all points. I like to be communicative, if that's even a word, and just be very open about everything and be as transparent as possible. So you have an opportunity to do that. Now, at the moment, they're not here, but you'll see a pre-lab quiz in your lab folder. And you'll see that at the start of class, so don't worry. I thought I had it in here before I made the video, so I apologize. But that's where your pre-lab will be. Your pre-lab will be here, and it will say pre-lab, and you will take the pre-lab. It's pretty straightforward. So I'm just going to actually show you a different course, even though you're not in this course, but I want to show you what it's going to look like. So I'm still in the process. So here's kind of what it looks like. So you'll have your pre-lab, your labs, any additional files, like you might need some logger profiles or video files. You'll have everything in here. So labs is the spot to be when it comes down to that. So let me go back to your course. So as the semester progresses, you'll see these populated. Do I have some of these down here already? No. Okay. They're all done. I literally have them all done, but it's just so much easier to time them out when it's 1 week ahead. These are your lab groups. You can check them out when the course is open. Open group. There you go. This is lab partners. This is kind of cool because you can actually communicate between each other and exchange files, and if you want to do that, that's fine with me. So it's actually a really cool feature of this. This is how you get to our class. You can click on this link, and it should, I've already programmed it for the entire semester. There it is. And you press start, and it should get you in. You'll wait in a waiting room. And I'll let you in. It's pretty It's pretty straightforward. Or if you want, you could just type in the meeting ID number. This is the same throughout the semester. And lastly, this is how you get to my office hours. There's 2 Zoom links right here. You just click on it during the time. The same thing, there's going to be a waiting room, so maybe I am eating that sandwich. So give me a minute, and I'll put that sandwich down, and or, you know, maybe I've run to do an errand or something. So I would say give me 10 minutes before, you know, if I'm not expecting you to get back to you. So just, you know, be patient as I do that for the waiting room. But I did that on purpose, you know, the waiting room, so that I could see, oh, someone's here. Okay, I'll open it up. I'm not going to just leave it open otherwise. So yeah, so I think that's everything. Oh, I have a schedule if you like. I love schedules, so here it is again. Now the schedule can change. Just know that sometimes maybe the lab didn't come out as well as I wanted to, or something's not working and I need to make adjustments, but I'll let you know. It's not going to be a surprise. And yeah, so I look forward to a great course with all of you. I think there are some people in my lecture, so cool. I got you for both. That's exciting. I like that a lot. If you're not in my lecture, it's still cool. I'm excited to work with you here and make this as a great of an experience as you can. And yeah, if you have any more questions, just let me know. I'll see you in class.